So because oxygen partial pressure is more in the alveolar air compared to the oxygen partial pressure present in the impure blood, and impure blood is carried in the pulmonary arteries. So what will happen, as this blood will reach next to remember there is a respiratory membrane, thin membrane in between. So diffusion will occur and oxygen will start coming inside the blood, and because carbon dioxide is at a higher partial pressure in the pulmonary air, because this blood is impure blood or carbon rich blood, or you can say the oxygen deoxygenated blood. So it is 45 mmHg here, and the alveolar air carries 40 mmHg. So carbon dioxide starts moving out of the blood into the air. That's why when we exhale, we are exhaling carbon dioxide rich air, or you can say the foul air, out of our nostrils. Now once this exchange has occurred, now this side of the blood is impure, please remember. Now this side is going to be pure, because after exchange this blood becomes richer in the oxygen and poorer in the carbon dioxide. So now the pulmonary vein carries the blood back to the heart, and now this blood is going to be oxygenated blood. So now the partial pressure of oxygen in this blood is 95 mmHg, and for the carbon dioxide it is 40 mmHg. So now what will happen, heart is going to pump, and then it will pump it into the systemic arteries. So the whole body is going to have the blood, fresh blood reaching to every tissue level, every cellular level. So finally at the level of the cellular level of the body, the amount of oxygen is again less and amount of carbon dioxide is more. So definitely this oxygen is going to move inside and carbon dioxide is going to move outside. This is how exchange occur. At the level of tissue, the values are actually same. The oxygen is 40 and the carbon dioxide is 45. So because oxygen is 40 here and 95 here, so gases always move from higher pressure to the lower partial pressure. So the oxygen from this blood will go into the tissues or cellular level for aerobic respiration, and because carbon dioxide is more inside the cellular level compared to the blood, so it will start moving out. Now this side is impure, remember, so blood again becomes carbon dioxide rich and goes back for the exchange. So there are two levels of exchanges. External level, in which carbon dioxide moves out of the blood into the alveolar air, and oxygen moves into the blood from the alveolar air. And the second is, once the blood has become oxygenated, it will be carried back to the body cellular level with the help of pumping of the heart. Please remember, pumping of heart is important to maintain these two exchanges going on. So once the blood reaches the cellular level, now at the cells or at the tissue level, carbon dioxide amount is more and oxygen amount is less. So definitely, because of the rule of the partial pressure, oxygen starts moving from the fresh blood into the cells and carbon dioxide starts moving out of the cells. So blood again becomes impure and moves away with the carbon dioxide, and cells, this is the way cells continue to obtain more and more oxygen for the aerobic type of respiration. So this exchange of gases occur through diffusion, and diffusion occurs always from the higher partial pressure towards the lower partial pressure of each gas independent of the other gases. This diffusion rate of carbon dioxide, remember, is 20 to 25 the faster than the rate of the diffusion of the oxygen. This is the reason, though the difference between the partial pressures of carbon dioxide is very less, you can see 45, 40, then it again become 40, and again it is 45 here. So this 5 mmHg difference is quite sufficient for exchange of carbon dioxide, because the diffusion rate of carbon dioxide is 20 to 25 times faster than the rate of the diffusion of the oxygen. And remember, nitrogen also moves in because the most abundant gas in the atmosphere, but there is little diffusion of nitrogen and it is passes out almost as such from the lungs, because we are not metabolizing nitrogen, so there is hardly any change in the partial pressure of the nitrogen. So nitrogen freely moves in and freely goes out because we don't metabolize nitrogen, so its partial pressure almost remains similar. Remember the definition of partial pressure. And now the next thing to understand is the diagrams from the NCERT. So you can see here the same concept. The 104, the higher partial pressure of oxygen forces the oxygen to move from air or alveolar air into the pulmonary artery. So the gas exchange occurs, carbon dioxide goes out, oxygen comes in. Now this fresh blood which is carried in the pulmonary vein goes back to the heart, and heart pumps it into the systemic artery. Systemic stands for distribution or wider distribution, or you can say overall body's distribution. So the whole body is going to receive oxygen rich blood with the help of systemic artery. So it carries oxygen rich blood, and now the blood carries the partial pressure of oxygen 95 and carbon dioxide 40, and at the level of the cell, body tissue or cells, the exchange of the gases will take place because of the partial pressure. Now again the blood has become deoxygenated blood with the partial pressure of oxygen just 40 and carbon dioxide 45, and now systemic veins throughout the body will take the blood back to the heart, and heart pumps it back to the lungs for the exchange at the external level.